Good day, everyone. Before we explore the life of Dr. Jose Rizal, let us take a moment to recognize why he remains one of the most important figures in our history. His life continues to inspire generations of Filipinos to value education, courage, and patriotism. In this report, we will take a closer look at who Jose Rizal really was, from his early life, education, and travels to the significant events that shaped his role in the Philippine Revolution. On June 19, 1861, Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonzo Realonda was born in Calamba in the Philippines, Laguna Province. Rizal's father, Francisco Mercado, was a wealthy farmer who leased lands from the Dominican friars. Francisco's earliest ancestors were Shanco and Zoneo, who later gave birth to Lamco. So for your information, Shanko and Zoneo are Rizal's great-great-grandparents sa mother's side. Shanko ang Chinese great-great-grandfather ni Rizal sa panig ng kanyang ina. Zoneo naman ang asawa ni Shanko, kaya siya ang great-great-grandmother ni Rizal. At the early age of 3, the future political leader had already learned the English alphabet, and by the age of 5, Jose could already read and write. Mula pagkabata, ipinakita niya ang kanyang katalinuhan sa sining, agham at wika. Nag-aral siya sa Ateneo Municipal de Manila at sa Universidad ng Santo Tomas bago pumunta sa Europa upang ipagpatuloy ang medisina sa Universidad Central de Madrid. Because of Francisco and Theodora's industry and hard work, their family became a prominent member of the Principalia class in the town of Calamba. Their house was among the first concrete houses to be built in the town. Francisco Mercado became one of the richest in Binan and owned the largest herd of carabaos. He was also active in local politics and was elected as Capitan del Pueblo in 1783.
Good day everyone, I am Bago Fortunato. Join me as I will take you to uncovering the childhood and the early education of our national hero, Jose Rizal. Let's go!
Rizal's family had a simple, contented, and happy life. Rizal's childhood was full of love and care shown to him by his parents and siblings. As a family, they prayed together during the Angelus. Doña Teodora and Doña Teodoro never spoiled Rizal's and other children's. They were strict parents and trained Rizal's and other children's to love God, behave well, be obedient, and respect people, especially the old folks. There were times when they would stay in the garden exchanging stories. It was in the garden where he learned to appreciate nature. Jose Rizal's personal servant named Tia Lina. So after the daily Angelus, the servant will tell him legends and fairy tales. So these stories made him become interested in myths and folklores. His first teacher was Doña Teodora, who taught him how to pray. He loved to stay at their library at home with his mother. And her mother noticed Rizal's skills of poetry and asked Rizal to write verses. As a young boy, Rizal demonstrated intelligence and learned easily. He was only 3 years old when he learned the alphabet. At a very young age, he already showed up a great interest in reading books. Eventually, Doña Teodora would notice and felt the need for a private tutor for the young Rizal. Just like the other children from the Principalia class, Rizal experienced education under private tutors. Rizal's family belonged to the Principalia, known for their wealth and education. Rizal's first tutor named Maestro Celestino, second tutor named Maestro Lucas Padua, and his third tutor named Leon Monroy, who honed Rizal's skills in Vedic Latin, reading, and writing. So this home education from private tutors preferred Rizal's to formal schooling which he first experienced in Binyan. At the age of 9, Rizal left Calamba with his brother Pasiano to study in Binyan. After 1.5 hours of travel, They reached the town on board a caromata. Terms related caromatro, cart can also be called calesa. They went to the house of their aunt, where Rizal stayed for more than a year. Before leaving, his brother, Pasiano, introduced Rizal to the teacher Justiniano Aquino Cruz, who was also Pasiano's former teacher. The class as described by Rizal was in Anipa House or Payag Kamalig or Bahay Kubo. It is an indigenous house, about 30 meters away from his aunt's house. Rizal's everyday routine would wake up early and either hear Mass at 4 o'clock in the morning or study his lesson first and go to Mass after. After returning home, he would take breakfast and go to class, from which he would come out at 10 o'clock. He would then again go to school at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and come out at 5. He would pray with his cousins at 6 and then study for a while before going to sleep. Rizal excelled in Latin and Spanish during their class. Rizal's leisure hours were mostly spent in Juancho's studio, where he was given free lesson in painting and drawing. After 1.5 years of schooling in Binyan, Rizal returned home to Calamba on December 17, 1870. He went home on board the steamship Talim and was accompanied by Arturo Camps, a Frenchman and friend of his father. Rizal was sent by his father to Ateneo Municipal, formerly known as Escuela Pia, for a 6-year program, Bachelor in Artes. He took the entrance exam on June 10, 1872. Ateneo was managed by priests or Jesuit fathers. Jesuit priests are the supervisors responsible for guiding, overseeing, and directing actions by providing instructions, like students in Ateneo were required to attend masses in the morning before the start of class. At the start, Rizal lagged behind his classmates, but because of his perseverance and seriousness in studies, he became the Emperor, a title given to the most outstanding student in class in just a month's time. He passed the oral examination on March 14, 1877, and graduated with a degree Bachelor in Arts with highest honor. Rizal displayed a remarkable talent for writing. He penned poems, essay, and play. His works reflected his growing awareness for social injustice, to expose the injustices and abuses prevalent in Philippine society under Spanish colonial rule, and his desire for reform. He sought to awaken Filipino people to their own potential and to inspire them to demand change. After finishing Bachelor in Artes, Rizal's father, Don Francisco, sent him to the University of Santo Tomas. During his freshman year, 1877 to 1878, he attended the course Philosophy and Letters. In his second year at UST, Rizal shifted his course to medicine. He felt need to take up this course after learning about his mother's eye falling eyesight. Rizal's academic performance in UST was not impressive as that in Ateneo. He was a good student in medicine but not as gifted as he was in arts and letters. He also faced experienced discrimination from Dominican professors who often treated Filipino students unfairly. He also felt that the Dominican professors were not as supportive. Through this experience, Rizal strengthened his commitment to advocating social change and equality.
So now, I'm going to discuss the Rizal Iñoro. So, in May 3, 1882, he left the Philippines for Spain. He was only 20 years old and thus a young man. He made sketches of fellow passengers and of things that he saw during his travels. Rizal arrived in Barcelona on June 16, 1882. He met his former classmates from Ateneo. A welcome party was organized for Rizal at a coffee house in Plaza de Catalonia. His classmates toured him around the city, showing him famous historical sites. Rizal wrote his first essay entitled El Amor Patrio, or Love of Country. During this time, the essay was published on August 20, 1882 in Diaryong Tagalog under the pen name Laong Laan. Rizal enrolled in medicine and philosophy and later at the Universidad Central de Madrid. On November 3, 1882, he took lessons in painting and sculpture at the Academia de San Fernando. Rizal learned French, English, and German at the Madrid Ateneo. He also participated in fencing classes at the School of San and Carbonell. In January 1883, Rizal informed his family of his goal to learn Italian, claiming he could master the language in just 2 months. Rizal earned the degree of licentiate in medicine in June 1884, qualifying to practice medicine. However, he was unable to obtain this doctorate in medicine due to his inability to pay the required fees to defend his thesis. Rizal experienced the effects of his family financial challenge due to low crop production caused by drought and low cost compounded by rising rent cost in Calamba. Rizal took examination in Greek, Latin, and world history. He won first prize in Greek and received a grade of excellent in history. On June 19, 1885, Rizal graduated with the degree licentiate in philosophy and letters, or licenciado en filosofía by letters, from the Universidad Central de Madrid, earning the rating of Sobrelicent Outstanding. Rizal was active in the Círculo Hispano-Filipino, or Hispano-Filipino Circle, which was a group of ilustrados educate Filipinos in Madrid. The group of organized informed programs, including poetry, readings, and debates. Rizal wrote the poem Me Pidin Versos, or They Asked Me for Verses, upon the group's request. During a Filipino reunion at Pedro Paterno House in Madrid on January 2, 1884, Rizal proposed the idea of writing a novel about Philippine society. Although the plan was initially approved, none of his fellow Filipinos contributed to the project, so Rizal wrote the novel alone. He met Consuelo, Don Pablo's daughter, at their gatherings and became attracted to her. Rizal chose not to pursue a relationship with Consuelo out of loyalty to his fiancée, Leonor Rivera. Additionally, his close friend Eduardo Delete was also in love with Consuelo. Rizal composed a poem entitled A Señorita, C-U-Y-R, dedicated to Consuelo Ortega y Rey. Rizal specialized in ophthalmology and trained under renowned ophthalmologists such as Dr. Louis de Weikert, Paris, Dr. Otto Bracher, Germany, and Dr. Javier Galiwowski. Befriended notable scholars like Friedrich Ratzel and Ferdinand Blumentritt in Germany. Collaborate with anthropologists Fyodor Jagor and Hans Verkuw, who were researching Philippine culture. Mastered the German language and wrote a paper titled Taglish Berkans, Tagalog, Metrical Art. Translate Scheller William Tell into Tagalog in 1886, finished No Limitang Here in Berlin and published it on March 21, 1887. With financial support from Maximo Viola, returned to Calamba on August 8, 1887 after 5 years in Europe. Opened a medical clinic and became known as Dr. Yoliman, focusing on treating eye condition, targeted by fears due to the critical portrayal of Spanish official in Noli Me Tangere. Left the Philippines for the second time on February 16, 1888, after his vacation was cut short. Thank you.
Let us now proceed to Rizal's second trip to Europe. The propaganda movement was a period of intellectual and political activism in the Philippines during the Spanish colonial era. It was spearheaded by Filipino intellectuals called Ilustrados, who sought reforms for the Philippines. Jose Rizal, a prominent Ilustrado, became increasingly involved in the movement as he witnessed the injustices and inequalities faced by Filipinos under Spanish rule. He joined forces with other prominent figures like Marcelo H. del Pilar, Graciano Lopez Haina, Antonio Lona, Mariano Ponce, and Trinidad Pardo de Tavera. The propaganda movement campaigned for reforms such as for the Philippines to be made a province of Spain so that native Filipinos would have equal rights accorded to Spaniards. Second, representation of the Philippines in Spaniard courts. And third, a secularization of parishes. So basically, Rizal used Morga's book to show that the Philippines already had a rich and complex culture before Spain arrived. Morga's book was written by a Spanish official who lived in the Philippines in the 16th century. He described the Filipino costumes, traditions, and even their government. Rizal, though, used Morga's book to challenge the idea that Spain civilized the Filipinos. He pointed out that Filipinos already had their own systems for managing their lives, their own beliefs, and their own arts. He wanted to show that the Filipinos weren't just savages waiting for Spain to come and teach them how to be civilized. They already had their own civilization. Rizal argued that Filipinos weren't inherently lazy, but that their indolence was a result of the circumstances they were in. He blamed things like, first is the climate. He thought the hot and humid climate made people less energetic and more prone to taking things slow. And the other one is the social disorders. He pointed to things like corruption, lack of education, and limited opportunities as contributing to a sense of hopelessness and apathy. Rizal argued that Filipinos had the potential to be hardworking and productive, but they needed a better environment to thrive. He believed that change was possible, but it would require reforms and a more just society. Basically, he was trying to imagine what the Philippines would be like in 100 years. But he wasn't just being a dreamer. He was actually trying to warn people about the dangers of continuing down the same path. He was super worried about what would happen if things didn't change. He saw how Spanish rule was holding the Philippines back, and he was scared that if things didn't change, the country would be stuck in a cycle of poverty and oppression. In the essay, he talked about how the Filipinos needed to be more educated, have more opportunities, and have a greater say in how their country was run. He argued for reforms, not just to improve people's lives, but to actually save the Philippines from a terrible future. He was basically saying, if we keep going the way we are, things will be really, really bad in 100 years. We need to change things now. It was a call to action, a play for Filipinos to fight for their future. Jose Rizal's El Filibusterismo, completed in July and published in September 1891, represents a significant departure from his earlier work, Noli Me Tangere. While Noli Me Tangere offered a relatively gentler critique of the Spanish colonial system in the Philippines, highlighting social injustices and the need for reforms, El Filibusterismo takes a much more radical stance. key difference lies in the narrative's portrayal of Philippine history. Noli Me Tangere depicted a society burdened by oppression but still capable of reform. El Filibusterismo, however, paints a picture of society teetering at the edge of revolution. The characters are more actively involved in a resistance movement, and the overall tone is significantly darker and more violent. This shift reflects Rizal's growing frustration with the slow pace of reform and his increasing belief that more decisive action was required to achieve meaningful change. Rizal realized that being in exile gave him a platform to write and spread his ideas. The real fight for change was happening in the Philippines. He couldn't just sit back and watch from afar. He wanted to be part of the movement for reform, to inspire his people and help them fight for their rights. That's why he joined the La Liga Filipina. This organization was his way of bringing people together, not just to fight for independence, but to improve the lives of Filipinos through education, economic development, and social reform. He knew it was risky. The Spanish authorities were already suspicious of him, and they were watching his every move. But he was willing to take the risk because he believed in his cause. He believed in the Filipino people and their potential to create a better future. Those leaflets, Pobres Frailes, or also known as Poor Friars, were the perfect excuse. They were basically a satirical attack on the Dominican friars, who were known for their wealth and power, even though they were supposed to be living a life of poverty according to their vows. Rizal's writings were critically of the friars' abuse of power and their corruption. He was basically saying, "You call yourselves poor? Look at all the money and the land you've accumulated. You're not living up to your vows." This was a huge insult to the friars, and the Spanish authorities used it as an excuse to arrest Rizal. They were accused him of sedition and rebellion, even though there was no evidence that he was actually planning any uprising. It was a classic case of authorities using any excuse to silence a critic. They didn't want people questioning their authority, especially when it came to the friars, who were seen as their allies.
Hi, sir. Good morning. This is the last topic of our report, which is exile in Dapitan and trial execution of Jose Rizal. Let's proceed. Exile in Dapitan. July 17, 1892, Rizal arrived in Dapitan on board the steamer Cebu, now a city within Zamboanga del Norte. Was a remote town in Mindanao which served as politico-military outpost of the Spaniards in the Philippines. It was headed by Captain Ricardo Carnicero, who became a friend of Rizal. During his exile, he gave Rizal the permission to explore the place and required him to report once a week in his office. Jose Rizal was exiled to Dapitan from July 17, 1892 to July 31, 1896 by the Spanish colonial government. Ang rason kung kay ano yung si Rizal na exile sa Dapitan dahil mga accusation na iyangan ng mga revolutionary activities. Han Spanish authorities suspected him of exciting rebellion dahil iya mga ginsurat nga El Filibusterismo nga hen Noli Me Tangere. Captain Ricardo Carnicero naman usin niya nga Spanish commandant of Dapitan. Hiyalin na nag-uusa nga Spanish nga nag-treat kan Rizal hen kindness ha Dapitan. 1892 to 1896 here, he practiced medicine, pursued scientific studies, and continued his artistic pursuits in sculpture, painting, sketching, and writing poetry. He established a school for boys and promoted community development projects. He also found time to study the Malayan language and the other Philippine languages. Jose Rizal practiced medicine, engaged in scientific studies, and pursued artistic activities like sculpture, painting, sketching, and poetry. Because of his deep intellectual curiosity, patriotism, and desire to serve his fellow Filipinos. Nag-eskwela si Jose Rizal in ophthalmology to help his mother, Asianete Teodora Alonso, who was suffering from eye problem. Ginagamit naman niya skills para i-treat ang mahihirap nga tawo both in the Philippines and during han iya ka-excel hadapitan. Rizal love for the arts, including sculpture, painting, and sketching, was extension of his creativity and nationalism. He used these skills to illustrate his work and even create pieces that depicted Filipino culture. Jose Rizal established a school for boys in Dapitan during his exile, 1892 to 1896. His school was not just about education but also about promoting community development through practical skills and self-sufficiency. Jose Rizal was deeply interested in linguistics and the study of Malayan and the Philippine languages because he believed that language was key to understanding the national identity and uniting Filipinos. September 21, 1892, Rizal won the second prize in lottery together with Ricardo Carnacero and another Spaniards. His share amounted to 6,000 pesos. A portion of Rizal winning was used in purchasing land approximately 1 kilometer away from Dapitan in a place known as Talisay. He built his house on the seashore of Talisay as well as school and a hospital within the area. Yes, on September 21, 1892, Jose Rizal won second prize in a lottery hadapitan with his Spaniard friend Ricardo Carnicero and another Spaniards. Han winning's ticket number was 9736 and they won 20,000 which divided among themselves. Instead han kano si Rizal kwarta ipalit niya gamit, he used it to establish a school for boys, a hospital, and agricultural project. December 19, 1893, Rizal his daily activities in Dapitan. I have a square house, another hexagonal, and another octagonal, all made of bamboo, wood, and nipa. In the octagonal, my boys live, some boys whom I teach arithmetic, Spanish and English, and now and then a patient who has been operated on. In the hexagonal are my chickens. Yes, during han ka-excel ni Jose Rizal Dapitan in 1892 to 1896, Jose Rizal nag-built in 3 houses made of bamboo nga hinipa. Han kada shape han balay, may da purpose. These houses were located in Talisay as siya iya gindagan han loto. He Rizal han nag-prove bisan kung na-exile hi hadapitan, he remained productive, innovative, and committed to serving others. I get up early at 5, I visit my fields, I feed the chicken, I wake up my folks and start them moving. At 7:30, we take breakfast tea, pastry, cheese, sweets, etc. Afterwards, I treat my poor patients who come to my land. I dress and go to the town in my baruto. I treat the people there and I return at 12 and take lunch. Afterwards, I teach the boys until 4 and I spend the afternoon farming. I spend the evening reading and studying. Asyaninhan kan Rizal daily activities. Nagmamatayan aga early at 5 a.m. to visit his fields. Tapos tinutubungan niyan iya mga manok. Han 7:30 a.m. naman nakaon niyan breakfast. Tapos kaman niya mag-breakfast, gina-assess niyan iya mga patient nga nakadaira. Ngayon kaman naman niya ig-assistan iya mga patient nakatuyahan ira town gamitan ira baruto. Han baruto small boat in nira asyanan ira pinagamitan ira pinaka-transportation han una. Tapos kaman niya ha town pag-uuli niya ha ira nagtiteach yan school for boys. Tapos kaman niya naman niya mag-teach. Nakatuyan ira farming. Iya kinukulawanan ira farm. Tapos kaman niya pagkakaton ira farm. Hanggang inama, i-spend niyan iya time pag re-reading ngahin studying. During this time, also Rizal's fame as ophthalmologist. George Taffer, who was suffering from eye ailment, traveled from Hong Kong to Dapitan. He was accompanied by his adopted daughter, Josephine Bracken, who was eventually fell in love with Rizal. They live husband and wife in Rizal's octagonal house after being denied the sacrament of marriage by Father Obach, the parish priest of Dapitan, due to Rizal's refusal to retract his statements against the church and to accept other conditions. George Tupper nag-travel hadapitan in 1895 because he was suffering from eye ailment. That time, Rizal na exile hadapitan pero nagpa-practice lagi aphiya in medicine, particularly nahan specializing in eye diseases. Asya na met George Tupper from Hong Kong, nahibaroan niya nga Rizal ay doktor, nag-decide hiya pag-travel tika nga Hong Kong to dapitan. Asya na mait, pagkadto ni George Tupper hadapitan upod niya ni ampon nga anak Josephine Bracken. Tapos asya na met Josephine Bracken naman na in love kan Jose Rizal. Asya met naging kasal hira. Pero Josephine Bracken and Jose Rizal han ira kasal without a special dispensation from the Bishop of Cebu kay magkaibahirahin relihiyon. Rizal is Freemasonry, tas Josephine Bracken naman is Roman Catholic. November 20, 1896, preliminary investigation of Rizal case began. He was accused of being the main organizer of revolution by having proliferated the ideas of rebellion and of founding illegal organization. Rizal lawyer Luis Tabil de Andrade tried his best to save Rizal. On November 20, 1896, the preliminary investigation of Rizal case began at the Crucial de España in Manila. Rizal was accused of rebellion, sedition, conspiracy due to his alleged connection with Katipunan. Asya na inhan gasen mga Spanish nga Jose Rizal bulighang Katipunan which is diri ma. Kay han involved han Katipunan Hipasyano han iya bugto nga Andres Bonifacio. Luis Tabil naman di Andrade, asya niya kan Jose Rizal defense lawyer. He tried his best to save Rizal, pero suga pa man dide. The trial was heavily biased against Jose Rizal from the start. Asya nga wala niya ka-save Jose Rizal. December 28, 1896, Governor General Camilo de Polavija signed the court decision. He later decreed that Rizal be executed by firing squad at 7 a.m. of December 30. On December 28, 1896, Governor General Camilo de Polavija signed the court decision on holding the death sentence of Rizal. This was a crucial step in the finalization of Rizal execution. At siya han December 28, han final confirmation han kan Rizal fate. Rizal on his last remaining days composed his longest poem, Ultimo Adios, which was about his farewell to the Filipino people. When his mother and sister visited him on December 29, 1896, Rizal gave away his remaining possessions. During ang last remaining days ni Jose Rizal, nagcompose siya final and longest poem, My Ultimo Adios or My Last Farewell. Ginsurat iniya han December 29, 1896, the night bago ang iya execution. It was untitled but after his execution, his friend Mariano Ponce named it Ultimo Adios. Han tema han iya poem is Love for the Philippines, Sacrifice, Hope for the Future, Faith in God, Goodbye to Loved Ones. Han famous line naman han iya poem is Adios Patria Adorado Rigon del Sur Querida or Farewell Beloved Country, Cherished Region of the Sun. Adi naman usa, Morir is descansar, to die is to rest. Asyanan kan Rizal final poem nga nag-remain nga hinag-inspired nga tuhan mga Pilipino. December 30, 1896, Rizal in black suit with his arm tied behind his back walked to Bagong Bayan. The order were given and were fired. Consumatum est. It is finished. Rizal died offering his life on his country and its freedom. On December 30, 1896, Dr. Jose Rizal was executed in Bagong Bayan, now Rizal Park, Manila. On the fateful morning, he wore a black suit, white shirt, and black tie, a symbol of his dignity and readiness to face death. Asya na nga, han 7 a.m. December 30, 1896, Rizal executed by firing squad. His execution marked the ultimate sacrifice for freedom, making him an enduring symbol of Filipino nationalism.